Hi Gemini, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carol. Gemini, this is going to be a general yearly reading for 2025, and I want to welcome any new subscribers that are here with us today. So what I'm going to do is we're going to look at a reading that's going to look at three big areas in your life, how you can take your power back this year, and what's blocking you from doing that. Also, how you can, what sort of false belief or idea that you have about yourself that is really preventing you from moving towards your authentic self. And then finally, I'm going to look at what what's the main obstacle that's going to prevent you this year from moving towards your purpose, your creative purpose, what you came here for. And it could be something very small, but we're going to look at what's blocking that. So I'm going to put you on speed shuffle. Probably less than a minute here, but it's going to take me a bit to set up your reading. So I'll be back in less than a minute. All right, Gemini, I am back. And I'm going to start off your reading by picking a shaman's dream oracle for you. And I did that, well, oh, there's my earring. Let me just take these off. So, in the Shaman Dreams Oracle, you got the Wailing Tree Reconciliations. So the Wailing Tree is about grief and mourning, a time of necessary losses. Reconciliations. When you encounter the Wailing Tree on your path, it's an invitation to stay a while and regroup. A place for you to rest and allow yourself to say goodbye to what no longer serves you. You may have been overdoing things, working too hard, or putting too much effort into life with little reward. If you've been considering making a change, now is the time to do it. One important thing to consider before you make any changes is that you need to allow yourself to feel your disappointments, your loss, and mourn what was and what could not be. This is a way to honor your experience, to give yourself time to consider all the gifts in it, to put proper closure on it, to really know what you've learned as you walk away from it into something new. So that's fascinating that you got the Wailing Tree for this reading, because in your reading you have two, that's a Devil card, but you do have the Death card. I thought it was the Death, it's a Devil, so that changes that. But that you have a Death card coming up as your advice. And the Death card talks about letting things go, some things in your life having to let go. And when we let things go, that means there's some grieving that always goes with it, because we need to grieve what we've let go in order for something new to come in for us. And so that is what I'm seeing for kind of your overriding energy here for 2025. And so we're going to see how that comes out in the three big areas that I have for you. You'll notice that in this reading, you have this side, which is your left side, and it's my right side. So this is your outer world. This is going to be your conscious world. It's going to be what you are very much aware of going on in regards to power, truth, and purpose that we're going to get to. And then on the left-hand side, I have what is my left-hand side, your right. It's your inner world. It's your unconscious. It's what you're not aware of. It's the shadow aspect of everything here. If you notice that your outer world is set up on the screen at the top, with where the number 1, 3, 5 right here are sitting on a mirror, because our outer world is a mirror. And once we start to realize this about our own healing journey, and we start to pay attention to the signs around us, because it's a mirror to what is going on in our inner world, our unconscious, because it tells us what things are coming up for our shadow that we need to heal. And so the inner world is what drives everything in our outer world, all our relationships and everything around us. It's absolutely incredible how it works out. And a big part of the healing journey, and you will hear me talk about in my readings, is your inner world, your outer world. This is all about shadow work. It's all about your healing journey that we're all on. We just don't know it. So I've given you the shaman's card. So let's start out with the top row, which is, and I'll give you a power animal at the end. And I'll also give you a dark goddess at the end. So we'll get into that. And it's fabulous how that kind of, fits into this reading all the time. So let's start off with your power at the top. And so I want to look at, first of all, what pattern or old habit that's no longer serving you. And, this railing tree talked about it right here, about, that whole thing about letting something go. That's no longer serving you in 2025. What needs to be released for you in order for you to start to take back your own power. And so you start off with the 9 of Pentacles as your first card. 9 of Pentacles talks about where you are willing to finally commit yourself to something. And so, and it's in reverse here. So I'm seeing that you really are having difficulty committing yourself to something. Maybe it's something that's been nagging at you because it's a pattern or an old habit. It can keep coming up, and it's like you're having difficulty committing to this. And it's bothering you, of course, because it keeps coming up, and it's like, I know I need to do this. I know I need to commit to do this. But, it just doesn't happen. There's a block or there's something here, and we'll find out what it is in your shadow here. But the next card that comes out is the Devil card. And the Devil card talks about in an upright position, the Devil card talks about attachments that we have. Often talks about our addictions that we have, and there's so many addictions out there, so many things that we can get attached to that will prevent us from facing this commitment that needs to happen here, that something needs to be released or let go. And it's in reverse, this Devil card, which really tells me that it's almost like, I know you are quite aware of your addictions. And it's almost like you've just accepted that, this is because your addictions are so strong in your life. It has really come now to a point where you don't see anymore what it is that you need to do, and you're just not wanting to look at it, right? And the Strength card comes in as your last card here, and it's in reverse. And the Strength card says, here's this individual in an upright position as she's taken the lion's mouth and she's prying it open, not scared at all. And I often look at this Strength card as this woman that's prying open the Pandora's box of these emotions that need to take place here, that need to come out. And you have the strength here. You have the strength to do it. But you don't see it because your addictions that you're using to, what addictions really do for us, and believe me, I have my addictions and I've had my addictions, and what they do is they just hold off the pain. It just numbs the pain because we don't want to look at it. I can't tell you how many times when I feel something's coming up or I've just been bad, I've gone through some real heavy periods of healing where it's just like, give me that freaking glass of wine or 2 or 3, because it's just like, I don't want to feel this right now. Sometimes that glass of wine will help me feel it. But if I know there's big pain coming up, my addictions will come out. And I know, if I'm scrolling on the phone or I know that there's this pain coming up, and it's like, no, I don't have the strength right now. I don't want to face this. And so there's this real commitment that's needed on your part. And so whenever this does come up for you to make this, to look at what it is you need to look at to heal what's coming up here, well, the addictions come out, and it's like you don't feel the strength. And so what is it? What is coming up for healing for you? What's blocking you from healing or making a commitment to, going inwards and starting to feel what's coming up? Well, you have in your shadow, is your inner world. It's these things that you put away when you were younger. People told you stuff about yourself, And they're painful. It's painful shit that people tell us about ourselves. Things that happen to us, our memories, our trauma. It's all buried in our shadow, and it continues to, raise, sometimes it's like, I want to say, I forget the expression is, raise its ugly head, or it is, sometimes it's a lot of ugly stuff that we need to look at. And it continues to. And so the first card comes out is this Judgment card that's sitting here right in your shadow. Judgment is a major arcana card. It's a universal force here. It's this calling. It's this calling of, look at this third eye, this wisdom, right? Third eye is the wisdom. It's this wisdom of yours. It's this calling, this intuitive wisdom in you, calling that you're meant to go towards something. It's like this awakening. It's trying to awaken you. And so you can feel it. I know you feel it, but you're just not wanting to commit to it. You're not wanting to go inwards. And instead, you're going to turn towards those attachments to cover up what this calling is from your shadow, from your unconscious. There's something here that's pulling you. And, this Ace of Pentacles. Aces are a gift, an offer from the universe. And it's sitting here right in your shadow, right in the middle of it. And the pentacle here is your body. Has everything to do with your body. It's the earth element. It's about grounding, about getting back into your body. Because when we were younger and really difficult things happened to us, we were really grounded about 4, 5, 6 years old. And believe it or not, there's like this, when this Judgment card came out, when this calling came out for you when you were younger, we knew what we were when we came here on this planet called Earth. We knew what we were supposed to do, where we were supposed to go. And we were in our body, very much in our body. But when big emotions, when things happen to us, when trauma happens to us, we kind of put these things away. We get out of our body because, when we're young, we can't handle these big, huge emotions. These things that happen to us, if something were to happen to us, maybe you were, and a lot of us have beautiful gifts that are sitting in our shadow. All of us do. But in order to get these gifts of getting to the real knowing of who we are and what we're meant to do, what this calling was for us that's sitting here in your shadow, we need to heal a lot of our trauma and a lot of these emotions that are wanting to be healed here right now that you keep pushing down. But when these big emotions come up and things happen to us, as a child, we are no longer in our body. We go up in our heads. Our ego pulls us out of our body because it's too difficult as a child to be in our body when we're younger if we have big emotions. And here's the big emotion here that's buried here that you're needing to get to. But you keep on putting off, and you might know what this big emotion is. And believe me, when you are into your addictions, and I know, I'm not here to talk about to not put your addictions away, or that's not my place. Because believe me, I know how my own addictions have played a huge part in my own healing, where I've had to look at them and bring awareness to, okay, what is it? My big addiction, my main addiction is my eating, my overeating. And so it's been like one that I've struggled with all through my years, my intense 7.5 years of healing my own complex trauma, where every time I'd go to the grocery store and buy a bunch of shit and I'd eat it all and just shove it down my throat. And it was like, what is it? What are you shoving down, right? And here's this grief. This is what this card is. Let me explain this. It's a 6 of Wands here, and it's blocked. It's at the back, right in your shadow here, the last card. In an upright position, the six of Wands talks about this. And sixes have a duality to it in my deck. So, this card on the surface looks like it's a victory card. He come back from a battle here, and he's won the battle. He's got all his supporters beside him, and looks great. Everything's great. But there's something hidden here underneath this green blanket. And because it's the sixes are cards of duality for me, and if you were to pull that green blanket, you'd find out what's on the other side of victory. Well, it's loss. There's something here that you lost when you were younger. Something was lost. And when we lose whatever it is when we were younger, there's a hell of a lot of grief here. And I'm seeing here that because you have this calling here, there's something you were meant to go towards. And you might have showed some of your gifts when you were younger. And the adults around us go, put those away. They're squashed. We're blocked from doing it. We're told to put that away. And so that's what we do. We put them away. But there's a lot of grief behind that when you're not allowed to do something you're meant to do. But you don't know what it is. And there's such a fear of you making that commitment right here. That's why it's in reverse. There's a big fear of yours to go inwards and feel that grief. But there's a calling there for you. And so let's look at the next row, which is your truth and having to get, what false idea or belief do you have about yourself in 2025 that you need to become aware of? What is it? And that might be what's preventing you as well from, getting to this grief. So you start off with these two cards came out together, the King of Cups and in reverse, and then you have the Pentacle. There's the Ace of Pentacles. There's the Ace of Pentacles right here. You have it in your shadow, in the middle of your shadow. So the King of Cups. The King in my deck is our masculine side. We all have a masculine and feminine side, and the masculine side is our ego. And so here's your ego here coming out for you. And the ego is that it's the King of Cups. So the ego wants absolutely nothing to do with emotions, which explains why you are having a very difficult time getting to, while your addictions are coming out here, because the ego will block us. Our ego self will block any emotions that want to come out, that need to be felt, like this grief, because it's a very petrified part of us that has such a huge fear. And if I had to pick one emotion that it's afraid of, it's grief. It does not even want you to go near grief. Any emotion, but grief, it's like it does the ego in. It does not want, it'll block you. And so if you're one of those people, I know one of the ways that I feel that my ego is out, it's blocking me. One of my ways that I know that my emotions are coming out, that are trying to get out, my ego's blocking it, is I will wake up in the morning, or I'll just feel an onset of it with this huge headache right here on my left-hand side. And it's like, well, here's my ego. And so if you're somebody that suffers from headaches, that is a huge sign that your ego's out. That is blocking some emotions that need to come out. And it's funny because now I know, it's just like, oh, here we are. Here's this, And sometimes it gets extremely painful, and I will reach out and take a pill for it. But I know that, okay, I may take a pill and it'll numb it because sometimes it's so painful. And I've had it, my whole head will be sometimes, just... And it has led to migraines when I was younger and in my adult life as well, not now. But I do still get the ego headache. And it'll come out when it wants to block my emotions, and in particular grief. There's emotions that are coming out here. And right behind it is this Ace of Pentacles, this offer, again, from the universe to get back into your body, but it's blocked. Because this ego self wants nothing to do with emotions, and our emotions are in our body. And so it'll block you from going into your body. The pentacle, this ace is a gift from the universe. It's saying, here you go. It's time to get back into your body. You need to get grounded. You need to get back into your body so that you can feel this. But you have this fear in you You know, this false idea, this fear, this belief about yourself that, oh my God, I can't get back into my body. Your ego is petrified of getting into your body. And I think here this Seven of Wands comes out, and it's in reverse, but the Seven of Wands is it's a card of very much can be a very lonely card in an upright position. It's a card of somebody that's wanting to go in a certain direction for themselves, wanting to find out, you know, what your true authentic self is, the wand is all about taking your life in this creative direction, something that you want to do for yourself, right? And, you know, we've talked about this judgment card that's sitting at the top here, sitting in your shadow, where there's something here that you want to go towards. And I think you know that. And it could be a small little step that you want to do for yourself. But I'm not feeling like this individual is you know, going out on their own, taking this step. And it looks like, you know, people are noticing you. You're up on this pedestal. You're fighting all these individuals here because you're not feeling the support here. And I think that's what's knocking you down right now, is that you don't have the support around you. You don't have the support around you right now to, you know, I think this false idea is that you're wanting to, I mean, you really feel like you can't do this inner journey right here. You can't get back into your body. You can't feel your emotions. There's this big, huge fear that you have because you're sitting with, like, in a place that also where you don't have the support of anyone. And I think what happens is it's almost like you've sort of given up, because when you don't have the support around you or the validation around you with people around you, when you're not supported by people around you, you will give up and your ego will come out and it will not want you to go into your body because you don't have that support right now. And so I think you need to become aware of that, you know, your ego and how it's blocking you, and it's how it's convincing you that you can't do this, that you can't get back in your body, that you can't feel this grief, and you don't feel the strength here. And I think it's because you're not surrounded by people that are going to help you in this situation. And so when you are in an unsupportive environment, your ego will continue to block you because it's not safe. And when you were younger, it was not safe for you to be in your body either if you were in an unsupportive environment. And so let's look at what's going on. Where's this false belief coming from? You have the Ten of Cups here. And the Ten of Cups talks about our emotions. It talks about, it's the end of the road, like it's the end of the suit. And it's about all these beautiful emotions that we have. Look at this beautiful circle of emotions, and this beautiful, the sun and the moon connected here. Beautiful, beautiful feeling here, but it's in reverse because when you were younger, you weren't allowed to experience. You realized at a very young age that you didn't have access to all these big emotions. You couldn't feel these big emotions. There was something, because the Tower moment in reverse is coming here in the middle here. There was something that really happened to you. I mean, it could have been one incident. It could be, you know, a repeating incident. But there's something here that happened to you when you were younger. And it's not, when it's in reverse, it's not as powerful as a full-blown tower incident, but it can be something that definitely changed a course for you, where you weren't able to fully feel what happened to you. And I think that's where the grief is coming from, up here, where you need to feel this grief. And the Ace of Wands comes here. And because of this Tower moment in reverse, you know, this incident that happened where you had this full range, these emotions that you weren't allowed to feel, you really lost your way here. Because the Ace of Wands talks about an offer from the universe, talks about a gift from the universe of just really, you know, taking your wand and going in that creative direction that you meant to go into. And it's blocked here. That creative direction that you were meant to go into is hidden here. It's blocked, which really relates to this Judgment card and how you're really being called here. I feel like you're really being called in this reading this year. You're going to keep on being called to something in your shadow that needs to be revealed to you, that is really affecting your ability to almost believe in yourself and believe that you can go on this journey. And I'm feeling here that there's not support that's around you right now that I think you need to become aware of as well. And then in your purpose here, here's the creative purpose that we've been talking about that's going to tie into everything here that's kind of hidden here in your shadow. And so what's this saying here? Well, you know, in order for you to, this is your outer world here. And I think you're aware that, you know, this individual, this Eight of Cups, this card, Eight of Cups talks about this individual that is walking away from, not walking away from their emotions, but kind of walking away finally from taking some time out to do the shadow work. This is really what I call my shadow work card. And so I'm wondering here, the main obstacle, your purpose here that you have, the main obstacle that's blocking you is you need to take time out. You need to take time out to be alone, to be in a safe place. And, you know, we talked about you not feeling safe here, not being surrounded by safe people. I don't know what that means for you. I do see the Death card here coming out as advice from the tarot, and that talks about letting some things go, and that can mean letting people go. You're not in a safe place here, and I think you're needing to get to some stillness, some quiet, so that you can do your shadow work, so that you can start to do this healing, this grieving that needs to be done here. Here's your Page of Wands, and the Page of Wands is our inner children. In particular, this is the inner child that knows your purpose. Believe it or not, when we were younger, 4, 5, 6 years old, we knew what we were meant to do. And I think it's kind of been established here that you knew what you were meant to do because you have this Ace of Wands right here. But something happened here that kind of deterred you, led you in a different direction, kind of pulled you away from that direction you were meant to go into. And there's some real grief behind that. And here's this inner child of yours blocked right now. And in 2025, it's time now to start to find out, okay, here's this child of mine that knows my purpose, that it was blocked when I was younger, and it needs healing, and it needs to be listened to. I do that through my journaling. It needs to be heard and understood, and it needs to heal, and it needs to grieve. Our inner children need to grieve, and that's how they heal. So I will be leaving a couple of playlists at the end for you on grounding, so that you learn how to get back into your body, and journaling, and how you can get in touch with this inner child of yours. The last card that you have is this, that relates to your purpose, and your main obstacle is the Nine of Swords in reverse. And the Nine of Swords speaks about, I talked about myself and how, it's no surprise I talked about when my ego comes out and I wake up with this ego headache, this big headache, and I know there's emotions coming out. This is what this card talks about. The Nine of Swords talks about that energy in our head, those things that we can't shut off, that I know you're probably trying to shut off with your addictions here. It keeps us awake at night. Maybe you are somebody that has difficulty with their sleep, has difficulty getting to sleep, has difficulty, you wake up all, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and you can't fall asleep. Maybe, you need help to get to sleep. Whatever it is, when this card comes out, it's like there's memories here. There's a memory, there's emotions that are coming up here for you, and it's blocked right now. And so that's what's happening here for you, is that you need to realize that there are these emotions that are coming up for you. You need to take time out for you so that you can get at what are these emotions that this little child needs to feel. Big emotions like grief and shame that are coming up for you right now. That's what is really blocking you from taking that step that you need to take. That's what's really blocking you here. So what is it in your shadow, your inner world, that needs healing in order for you to be able to, do the shadow work that you need to do to go inwards, to ground and start healing some of this? Well, as a child, there's this feeling of really, really in an upright position. The Eight of Swords talks about being trapped. This whole feeling of feeling like you're trapped. As an adult, when we get this card, not in your shadow. In your shadow, this is when you were a child. As an adult, when you feel trapped, you can get out of it. In an upright position, you feel trapped, but you can get out of it. As a child, when you feel trapped, you can't get out of it. There is no way for you to get out of it. You had no way to get out. You had no way out because when you're a child, you can't get out of it. And you had this cup here, this Ace of Cups, which is, an offer to the universe to feel these big emotions when you were younger. To feel these big emotions that really were associated to feeling so trapped when you were younger. Well, look where this is in reverse here. You couldn't feel. You were not able to feel. You weren't allowed to feel. Maybe people said when you were younger, put those emotions away. Something that happened so, this Tower card sits right underneath this tower that happened, and you had to put your emotions away when you were younger. And because you were trapped. You couldn't feel. It was too painful for you to feel. And the King comes right underneath it, right behind it. And the King is what we said was our ego self. And so that's when our ego self comes in, when we were younger, when we cannot handle these big, huge emotions. When we were younger, well, here's the King of Swords, which talks about our truth, our authenticity, and it'll come out and it will block everything here that has to do with our truth, with our authenticity. It doesn't want anything to do with authenticity and our truth. It'll tell us to put on all these big masks. It'll block you. It'll take you out of your head and out of your body, and put you right back in your head. It'll block everything. And yeah, and that's how it protects you when you were younger. So, I am going to look at right now what the advice from the tarot is in order to start to move towards your power, your truth, your purpose in 2025. And the first card that comes out, and I've already referred to it a bit, is the Death card. And the Death card says there are things that you need to let go of. And I think the wailing tree talked about it. Things that need to let go, and then we need to grieve. There are things here that need to go from your life, people that need to go from your life, and you would know who they are or what it is. Maybe it's the addictions that need to go. Maybe, and again, I don't talk about so much dropping the addictions, because those are hard. I am a firm believer in addictions will go once you work on a lot of your trauma first. Once you work on a lot of your pain, once you heal that. And that's what happened to me with my eating, is eventually, I have a life coach for my trauma. I've had her for 7.5 years. And that was one of the big things I brought up, was my addictions. And I said, well, what do I do about my eating? It's acting up again, or it's coming up again for me. And it was like, she wouldn't focus on that. She would never tell me to give it up. So I'm just, when I say things have to go, I'm thinking, well, maybe awareness has to come up in regards to your addictions and how what pain, what has to go. There's something that has to go here. And because there's an offer here for you. And this came up as with these 2 cards. So there's an offer on the table here. And I think, this is the 4 of Cups talks about, let's look at this offer here. The 4 of Cups talks about this individual that's quite comfortable in their seat right here. It reminds me of, I'm a retired teacher, and so many kids used to sit back in their chair like that, where they're leaning back on it. And it was like, I had to always stop my lesson and tell them to sit up, because you just knew where it was going to go, right? And so here you are, Gemini, where you're kind of like sitting back on this chair. Here's your 3 cups of emotions, and you're like, I'm done feeling. I don't want to feel anymore. I don't want to commit to any shadow work. I don't want to commit to any healing right now. It's just, no, I'm kind of done here. And these things that need to go means that there's some healing that needs to be done. And here's this 4th cup that comes in here. And the 4th cup is like an offer from the universe. It's like an ace that's saying, here's an offer for you, a gift from the universe to feel again, to feel this grief, to get inside you and to feel, to go inwards and do the shadow work here. And to start to feel this grief that you felt when you were younger, because you couldn't take your life in a new direction. There's something here that happened to you. And, it's time for you to heal this grief and get in touch with that page. I know there was that page that came up. Page. That was the ace. Was there a page? Yes, there was. I know there was a page. Okay, here it is, right here. Here's the Page of Wands. That's that healing, that child that needs healing. It's time to get in touch with that child that knew who you were supposed to be, where you were supposed to go when you were younger. And here's the offer from the universe. It says it's time now to let something or someone go, and then the healing needs to take place. The grieving of this needs to take place. Because the universe wants to bring you to this hangman. This hangman it's almost like the universe saying, once you release that grief, well, what is going to come in for you is the freedom that this hangman feels when it's hanging upside down, and it's extremely comfortable in their own skin. And look at the glow on the head of this individual, right? It's no more pain where you got to take the pills and block that ego self here. But once that grief comes in, that ego self has been blocking, it brings you to a place of, oh my God, I feel so much lighter. And that's when you're going to get the clarities. Like these clouds are, and I'm not just saying this is from experience. It's almost like these clouds open up and it's like, holy shit, I can see where I'm supposed to go now, and what little direction I'm supposed to take in my life right now. And so that's a beautiful thing here. So I'll leave you with those 2 playlists. But before I leave, I have a spirit animal for you and a goddess. So the spirit animal is horse spirit. Did I not mention the word freedom? It says freedom is yours. And when horse spirit appears, you are gifted with the spirit of movement and freedom. It is time for travel and adventure, whether that means a trip somewhere or taking a different type of journey, one of freedom of choice. This choice is all yours. Horse spirit reminds you that no matter the circumstances, you have free will. and are capable of making powerful choices, like letting something go here. Read this, Carol. That will affect you for a long time to come. Horses are social animals and known to be a friend of mankind, willing to carry us forward when we need it. Horse spirit reminds you that help will be available and companions will be by your side. And you know, this is huge for you to believe that someone's going to be by your side, because this Seven of Wands came up in your reading where you're not feeling supported. And I know my intuition is telling me it has something to do with someone that you need to let go. So, Dark Goddess Spirit says you have the Strength card, but it's I don't look at the Strength card actually, but it is the Strength card. This is actually a tarot deck, but I'm using it just for the Goddess. So you have the Slavic guardian of the forest. Now I have at the bottom, it says be wild and be whole. Samovala is the guardian of the Slavic garden of the forest. She protects the living beings, red-blooded or green, in the woods of Eastern Europe. She guards the purity of its streams and the health of the whole. Often lively and playful, Samovala loves to dance. Her circle dances create the magical glades that are found even in the deepest tracts of the forest. She is fierce in her defense of her home and takes revenge against trespassers who would harm her beloved ones. So, her knowledge of all beings within her borders and their abilities gives Samovala great powers of healing. This wisdom is sought after by some brave souls who enter the forest. And granted it may be, should they stand in a circle on a moonlit night bearing emblems of her avatars and greeting the goddess and the animals as a sister. Use careful force and practical wisdom to defeat your foes. So, imitate Samovala's stance of power and prepare to defend against those who would use you and yours for immoral purposes. Do not be lured by greed or lust into betraying your values. Very much a goddess of protecting her environment. And if people were to come in her space, she is there to make sure she's the guardian, right? And this really speaks volumes of what is needed. She is the strength of you to protect you. And, you know, you have a purpose, you have a direction here, and you need to commit to what you need to do in 2025 to make sure that you are surrounded by people who are safe for you. And so I want you to have compassion for yourself, Gemini, for what you're working through this year. It's a very difficult journey, your healing journey, but it's the most important journey of your life. So take care, and I'll talk soon. Bye.